So, hi. Um, in this video, I'm actually going to try to write some script. I kind of ask that some kind of questionnaire. So, here's how it's gonna work. There'll be this JSON file, or rather, any JSON file. So, it's gonna have the questions in it, and then the script is just going to, take whatever is in the JSON file and just pour it to the user. Um, then the user can answer the questions. So, I haven't done this like prior to making this video, so I'm actually going to try to be to like embed my entire thought process in the video while writing the script, so you'd see how I would approach the problem, while writing the code. So I'm gonna make the text bigger so it's quite visible. I'm going to create a file. I'll name it main.py as main.py, and yeah, so here we are. So what I'm going to do, all right, I think what I'm going to do is start with or rather just if we check the cell, we have the main.py file in our directory, project folder. I'm going to go ahead and create a JSON file. So just name it test.json. All right. So here we have the Python file. Here we have the JSON file. So basically, we want like some set of you know questions. Something's a bit off. All right, cool. So basically, we want some set of questions in our JSON file. So it's going to be a list. Making this video, I'll assume you know how JSON files are, what JSON files are. So I'm just gonna say, JSON files are uh, data storage. JSON files is data storage format. Basically, allows you to store data in key value pairs. Uh, you could argue that, I mean, obviously, JSON files are valid JavaScript objects. So, formula of JSON is JavaScript's object notation. So you'd every valid JSON file is also a valid JavaScript code, but JSON files are quite limited. So you wouldn't say JavaScript code is a JSON file. So you can only like have data here, and the syntax is a bit limited. But you make that research yourself. I'm just going to show you how I would go about writing the question stuff. So let's say it's going to be a list of questions. That's why we have the square brackets right there. But then inside that list is going to be a question. So I'm just going to denote it by an object. So we have a single question there. And now that question needs some properties like um, you know the question itself. So I can say question, and here I'll ask my question. Let's say I'll ask a simple question like what is the color, my bad, of the sky. Shit. All right. Here. So this is a question, and we're going to need like a set of options. So show the user so the user can select one. And I'm just going to, or rather, the way I'm going to like represent my options is I'm going to use a list. So inside the list, there's the options are going to be placed there. So we'll have red, blue, green. We're gonna have purple. So yeah, those are the options, and I'm also going to have my answer right here. The answer is going to be a number, and now this number is going to represent the index of the correct answer in the list. So here, the correct answer is blue. The index of blue is 1. So yeah, this is a simple question. I'm just gonna make this 2 so we can, I can, all right, let me just leave this 1 for now so we can have something simple. Yeah, so I said there were limitations to JSON. For example, the string has to be in double quotes. Let me go ahead and write something like, say, it's going to be weird. String has to be in double quotes, so just a note for you. Um, and also it shouldn't end with commas. Although there's another um version of JSON files called JSON with comments, with which you can actually place JavaScript comments inside your JSON file, but not this one. Okay, just plain data. All right, cool. So we have our JSON file implemented there. So in a Python file, I'm going to have to load the JSON file into a question. So I'm going to create a function to actually load the question, right? So there we have it. So what this is going to do is going to take in the file name. We're going to be string. We're going to return a dictionary, or rather an array of questions. I could actually further annotate this, but I'm just going to leave it simple um, for now. Maybe by the end of the video, let me just take all this out. Probably by the end of the video, I would show you how to like annotate, in depth. But I'm actually used to this shit, so I'm just going to put in the simple ones and explain like something more complex at the end of the video. So yeah, what I'm doing right here is loading my question. And how do I load the question? Python has, let me open up interactive shell. So if we check, we see we have main.py and we have our test.json. And what we need to do is we need to find a way to open our test.json file, parse the data that we have inside, and then represent it in with some kind of Python object. So luckily, Python has an inbuilt module or package called JSON, and it would allow you to interact or rather parse JSON files and represent them as Python objects. So let's use our test.json as a use case and see what happens with that file. I'm going to import JSON right here. So it's that simple. So now we would import the JSON package or module rather. And if we just type in JSON, we see it's a module JSON from this particular um, you know file. So now that we have the JSON module, what we need to do is we are going to use the load. We're going to use the load function in the JSON module, and if we take a look at the documentation, we see that we have to call the load function. We'll pass in the file descriptor, that means the file handler. Um, let's see. So yeah, so FP has to be a file like object that contains a JSON document. So it has to be a file handler that actually has this content in it. So let's try that. So we have to open the file. So now that we've opened the file here, this file is our file descriptor for this test.json file. So now we can just get the content. So say data equals to JSON the load file. And yeah, this is that load function that I pulled out earlier. And this file is our file descriptor that points to the JSON test.json file. So when we call this function and then we put the results in this variable here and we run this, if I print data, we can see this same thing here. So what this JSON load did is it took the file descriptor, it read the file, then parsed the JSON file, then turned it into a Python object, in this case an array. So if we say type data, that's a list. So we can actually access the information like a regular Python object. So we can see data 0 will give us the first object in the list, which is this guy, and we can say data 0, can pull out the question, and we get the actual question. So you see it's that simple. Um, so that's what we're going to do here. We're just going to open the JSON file with open, pass in the file name. If you notice, like normally we're going to pass an R, specifying the mode with which we want to open the file, but by default this is R, so we can choose not to pass it. The function is going to just assume we're trying to read the file, so it's all the same. So say we open file name as file. What we want to do is just want to return JSON.load file. So yeah, we've not imported JSON right here, so we're just going to do that up here. Import JSON. So yeah, so that being said, we have our question loaded. We're gonna get a list. Let me just specify that the list is going to contain a dictionary. So yeah, not really complex, but we're getting there. Just know that this is a list of dictionaries. We can actually still make this complex and more descriptive, but for now we're just going to leave it as is, and I will show you why this is useful uh, after I'm done with the entire, you know, um, with the entire program. So now that we've found a way to load the questions, now we need to have our actual app or what the user is going to experience when they run this. So I'm just going to define a function main. So this is the function that will get called here. So once we are done defining all this, we call the main function. So for now, I'm just gonna print a simple hello, so you see what this is. So we're on Python main.py. Oh shit, my bad. Python 3 main.py. There we get nothing. I think we didn't save this. Oh yeah. Uh, so yeah, when I run this, I would get hello. So we both know what's happening. At line 10, we run the main function, and the main function says print hello. So that's why we get the hello right there. Um, yeah. So what's the next? We have to, let's a question or questionnaire should have a title, right? So this whole thing, the whole file is a single questionnaire. So or a quiz, blah blah blah. We need to like print something like, hi, you know, welcome to this questionnaire. Some kind of description. Um, subject maths, blah blah blah. You can just do this any how you want to, but I don't know if you catch my drift. I just want to be welcoming to whoever runs this program. So I'm just going to add a little more information here. So instead of making this that and list, we'll make it a dictionary. You know what's gonna happen? Let me open this in VS Code. I'm actually not entirely how am I gonna put it? I'm not a very nice Vim user, so I'm just gonna open this whole thing in VS Code. I'll make this a bit bigger so it's still visible. So yeah, you can see in our quiz app folder we have the main.py, and then we have the test.json. So open up the main.py, we have this. Open up the test.json, we have this. There's some errors in our JSON file. That's because we made some changes. Um, but for now, let's just let it slide. Let me open this up and yeah. So now we have our files side by side. We have the test.json and we have the main.py. So yeah, I was making changes to this. I wanted this to be uh, uh, an object that has the questions as a key. So if you can see this, we have it's an object that holds the questions. So I want to add an information here. Let's say title, simple questionnaire, uh, simple quiz. Yep. So it's a simple quiz, and then we just put a description. Hi, welcome to our quiz app. Yeah, something just basic. So yeah, we're gonna change this. This no longer returns a list of dictionary. As you can see right here, this returns a dictionary itself. Uh, so here's my stance on typing. Oh, you know what? Let me wait till the end. I was going to, just the whole complex shit that I said I was going to do at the end of the video. But I'll just let it slide for now. And yeah, so what I want to do is print this information right here. So question. Oh, you know what? Let me actually explain how we're going to run this entire thing in the first place. So, like I said, the questions are JSON files. So we could have more JSON files. We could have 10 JSON files, um, and then we want to run one specific JSON file. What I would like us to do here is to have a way to select one JSON file. So I want us to do it in a way that we'll call our Python main.py, and then we pass in the JSON file here. So we say Python main.py test.json. Oh, my bad. Python 3. So I want I want to find a way to make main.py know that I'm passing test.json. How do we do that? We use sys.arg. It's another Python module, sys. So sys. So if I just come right here and print sys.arg. So as you can see right here, sys.arg is a list of strings. So when you pass in a command line argument or command line variable rather, you just get right here. So let me just save this and run this here so you can see. So as you can see, we have um, two arguments, and that's because Python 3 takes into. So this is the binary we're calling. This is the first argument. This is the second argument. So anytime we run Python 3 main.py uh, test.json, we get two arguments here, and the one that we need is the second one. So JSON file is equals to sys.arg1, and then we want to print opening JSON file. So if you run this Python 3 main.py test.json, you get opening JSON file test.json. So now what if we don't actually pass in this? We get an error saying index out of range, and that is because in this case sys.arg is just only has one argument there, which is just main.py. There's nothing else after main.py, so we can't actually access the index one. You get? So we need to pass in a check. So if the length of sys.arg, so if the length of the argument is not equals or is was less than 2. So if the length is less than 2, that means we don't have up to 2 arguments there. What we want to do is, exit. So we can use sys.exit. Yeah. So sys.exit will just terminate the process. We can just pass in the reason here. Pass a JSON file. So if we run this, you can see exits the program with pass a JSON file. Knowing full well that this would exit if this condition is true, we can just remove the else block. So now what we can do is to actually open the JSON file. So it's a question. Let me change to load quiz. So we'll call the quiz load quiz. We'll pass in the JSON file. So now we have this load quiz that takes in the JSON file that we passed in the command line arguments, and we're storing it in quiz. So if we print quiz and run this, we get pass the JSON file. When we pass the JSON file, we get this. So say open a JSON file, then we say that the JSON file is named test.json, and then we get the quiz object. So what I want to do is print the title. And print the title in uppercase. So I'll say quiz, uh, quiz, then title, title, quiz, that title. Sorry, title. As you can see, we didn't get any like auto completion when we put dots. Normally if you had a string, like let's say s equals, let's say a string, let me say s dots, we get this auto completion right here, or suggestions rather, and I would show you how we can use annotations to achieve that at the end of the video. But for now, I'm just going to print title the upper. So print the title, and then we'll print the description. Because quiz, you can see here description. So one more thing we can do is question. Questions. Get questions from the quiz. So I'm just going to like say this is a string, this is a string, and questions is a list. Right here, questions is a list of objects. So a list of dictionary. So here we can see that we say title, you get the completion. So title the upper. Next one to press is the description. And now we need to find a way to ask a question. All right. So when we run this, right, we get opening JSON file, we get the title simple quiz, and we get the hi, welcome to quiz app. So I want to put like some kind of demarcation. I'm just gonna create a function and just limit line. So what this would do is to just print a straight line like this. So whenever I call line, we know we are drawing a straight line. Draw a line before we print the uppercase and after we print the uppercase. Before we print the title and after we print the description. So if we run this, we see we print the first line, simple quiz, print the description, then we print the next line. So now we need to actually ask a single question. And to do that, let's just create a function that takes care of that. Ask question. Now, you can see we are breaking all this down. We're not just like packing the entire thing into one place. Like we're breaking it down into functions so that we can easily understand what's going on. So you see, when it comes to questions, we have for each question in the list, want to ask. So now let's write a function that actually does the operation for one question. So I'm going to pass in a question here. A question is a dictionary. So now that we have the question, this question here represents just this guy. So the first thing we do when we get to a question is let's first print a line. I don't know if we should print. I think we should print a line at the end. Well, let's ask a question. So the question is going to be question. Then we're going to index this question here. So we're going to print the question. Maybe we should also like identify the index of the question so that we can print where the question is coming from. So I'm going to get the index. I'm going to get a question. So I'm going to print. Uh, so you might be confused here. What is this f before the string? What is all this? What is all this? Blah blah blah. So this is what we call like a f string. Uh, I'm going to try to explain it right here. So a string is what you know normally. It's a quotes. And anything you write inside is doesn't really make any sense to the interpreter. It just takes it as a string, right? Even if it's a number that's inside, no matter what's inside, it's a string. F strings are still strings. Like you can see, F string like formatted strings. We can just put in F right here, and it's still a regular string. But the only feature when it comes to F string is that F string allows you to, should I say, do magic. So let's say I have a variable age equals 10, and on this print like your age is this. Normally what I'll do is your age is, I'm going to add string age. Your age is 10, and that's because if we just add age we get an error. So I'm going to have to do your age is string 10. um with f strings we don't have to break down our strings this way. As you can see, this is the addition of two strings. With f strings we can just have one string. Your Oh, I was typing you the whole time. So we can say your age is, now in the same string we can write in age. You can see we have our variable age right here. When we run this we get your age is age, and that is because this whole thing is still a string. It's a regular string. For us to actually put in the value of age right here, we need to surround it with curly brace. So you can see the difference between age here and age here. This is a normal string. This is also a normal string, but this time we're wrapping it with curly brace. So anything inside the curly brace is a normal Python evaluation. So it's going to look for age, evaluate what age is, and then print it out. As you can see, in this way, we don't have to actually wrap the age with a string. It's just going to call age dot string, which is the inbuilt function of the blah 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 of the init class. It's just going to call that function here, so you don't actually have to do the string conversion by yourself. So yeah, that's basically it. This way we have a full single string from a single string. So that's what f strings are for, just formatted string. And this, what we want here, we want to print something like this. Let's say 0, or rather 0, and then we ask the question, what is blah blah blah. So now let's replace this 0 with index. But we want this to be formatted, right? So f, let's wrap this because we want the value of index to actually be here. Let's wrap this in curly brace. So also want the question to be here, but then want it to be formatted, want the value of question to show here. Wrap it in curly brace. Now, like I said, this whole thing here inside this curly brace is a normal Python evaluation. Like I said, question is the dictionary. I mean, it's this one here. I think I should name this to text so it's not confusing. Yeah, so just text. So this question here is a single question object, and then in here I want to get the text. So say question and pass on text. Now, just make sure not to use uh double quotes here again because it's going to break the string as you can see right here. So you can just use a single quote inside. Yeah. So now we are able to ask a single question. Print rather. So let's print the options. So for option, let me get the options. Options equals question options. So options is a list of string. I'm going to describe it as is, and then say for option in options, we want to print the option. Let me put Q so it be Q1, Q2, blah blah blah. So I want a little bit of space or tab at the beginning. Let me show you something. So if I print hi, just get number high, but I want some kind of like tab at the beginning. Tab is this button you press. There's a tab button on your Timex or on your computer keyboard. You can actually print it out like this \t. So it's going to escape this and return an actual tab character, this guy, before printing your high. As you can see the difference between the first guy and the second guy. So that's what I want for the options. I want to print the tab character first. Then I would put in the option number. Let's say, I hope you know how to use enumerate. If you don't know how to use enumerate, go learn it. So I want to get the index. I'm not sure that's correct. My bad, my bad. So yeah, for index command option. So this index is an integer that would actually tell you the index of our I'm gonna put it of our question of our option rather. So here what I want to do is print the option number as the index. So I'm going to pass an index, but once it start from one, index start from zero. One of our options to start from 1, 2, 3, 4, like that, like that. So I'm just going to add one here. Then I'm going to print the option. So you can see we printed the tab character and we printed the value of the index. Then let me use a close bracket here. Then we printed the option. So yeah, now what to do is we're going to ask the question. Like we're actually going to ask now. So user answer is going to be input. We're not going to prompt anything. We just leave it as an empty string because we've already asked the question here, so we'll just leave this one empty. So we're going to wait for the user to enter the answer. And the answer is going to come as a integer, as a string rather. So let's just imagine for now that the person is going to input a valid number. So I'm just going to convert this to an integer. I'm going to add one, or rather, we're going to minus one from, we are printing the index. Oh, no, I'll just show you. Let me run this first. And uh, now let's do the printing. So for question in questions, I'm gonna say ask question. Now the thing is we need the index, so we're going to use enumerate again. Get the index. So we're going to pass in the index. I'll pass in the question. I just realized we have index here and then index here. So we don't confuse the two. I'm going to name it option index. So yeah, this is the option index. This is the index we pass as an argument. So the question is just going to be the question. So now we can run this and see what's up. So yeah, you can see we printed the title, description, then we're actually asking the question. So what's happening here is at this point we only have one question in our list right here. So after it printed the second line, it started looping through the questions, and when it goes to the first question here, at index equals 0, we ask. And now asking is what printed this. So you can see we printed Q index, then the colon, then we printed the question. So Q0, what is the color of the sky? Then we printed the tab character. Uh, then we printed the option, tab character option, blah blah blah. So what I want the user to do here is enter a value from 1 to 4. So we can just put in uh, 1, and that's all. For now, we don't do anything more because number 1, that's the last question, and number 2, we don't do anything more than that. Yeah, what I want to do now is if you put in 1 here, we know the index of red is actually 0. We're just presenting this as 1. So if you put in 1, want to just minus that minus 1 from the value. So if you put in 2, the actual index is 1. If you put in 3, the actual index is 2. If you put in 4, the actual index is 3. So because we added 1 before to display, when the person enters the number, I want to just remove that 1 back. And this is only for aesthetic purposes. Let me just take it off so you don't get any more confused. So we can just start from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3. So when the person enters 0, we're actually just working with that. So now the ask question should return if the user got the answer, if the user got it right. So we're going to return a boolean. So I want to return if the person got the answer correct. So if answer here is equals question answer, which is this guy. Now this is going to evaluate to a boolean. So if I entered 0, or rather let's say I entered 1, when we Python evaluate this, we get 1 equals, okay, it's 1 equals 1. So the evaluation will be true. So we'll return true. That's what happens here. So what we can now use or do is now get the score 0 for now. So we're going to if we ask the question, that means if this ask question returns true, we want to increase score by 1. And at the end, we want to now print the line at the end of that. At the end, we want to now print your score. Your score is, make this a formatted string. Your score is score. It's going to be over the length of the questions. So if we had 10 questions and I answered all 10, it's going to be 10 over 10. So we're going to be len questions. That's all. That's basically it. So I'm just going to run it and say, what's the color of the sky? 0. Let's go 0 over 1. So what's the color of the sky? If I say uh, 1, so let's go 1 over 1. So it's quite good. It's very nice actually. So now let's look into improvements. More questions. Let's add 2 more. Let's just ask ChatGPT to generate questions. Mm, Generate questions in this format. Let me also let it know that answer is the integer value that holds the index of the correct option in options. Alright, so it knows that this actually means that blue, which is index 1, is the correct one. So yeah, let's see how it. Nice, nice. So we get more questions. So I'm just going to copy this. You can see the format is quite correct. We have a title, description, then we have questions, then a list of objects, and each object has text, options, answer, so on and so forth. So I'm just going to paste this here. So now we have a standard JSON question. Oops, looks like there's an error. Okay, I think the. Oh yeah, forgot that one. So now let's verify that this is okay. Color the sky blue. 2 plus 2 4. Capital city of France, Paris, which is index of 2. Planet is the red planet, Mars. Nice. This mammal, elephant. Oh, blue whale rather. Alright, cool, cool, cool. Good. So if I run this, what's the color of the sky? I'm just gonna say green. So let's say 2. What's 2 plus 2? Let's say 4. Capital city of France. Let's say Rome. Planet is the red planet. Let's say Earth. Largest mammal. Let's say human. So score is 1 over 5. So quite good. This works fine, and this is the best case scenario. So now let's work on improving our program. As you can see, everything works fine. So now if you have this, you're good to go. Let's just imagine this is the end of the tutorial, right? And everything from here onwards is just towards an advanced how am I gonna put it, advanced learning. So we have something good, works fine. If you have this, you're good to go, you did well. That's all. If you want to follow along with the rest of this video, just know that I'm about to get into more advanced, should I say, topics. I don't know. But yeah, let's get it on. So first off, I'm just gonna start with typing now. I like typing, adding types um to my Python code. Also adding doc strings. So this is how you add doc strings. In the beginning of the function, you add a string with triple quotes, and then you can describe your function here. So this function loads a quiz from a JSON file. File name is the name of the JSON file. So now this quiz has a description, and if we check or if we hover over the function, you can set the description here. This function loads a quiz, blah blah blah. So quite good. Also, annotations needs to be like nice. So now when we load a quiz, when we load a quiz objects, we're going to return a dictionary. Now this dictionary is just plain, it doesn't really describe um what we're loading. Now I want to like describe this object in a way that our code knows what each part is, kinda. So I'm going to um, have to describe what's going to come out of load quiz. I'm just going to create an object quiz. I'm going to extend typing the type dict. Now this would mean here that we're going to return a quiz. So when we load quiz, we pass in the file name, which is a string, and what we're going to get out of the quiz is a quiz object or a quiz dictionary. Now let's describe the keys and values that our quiz app is going to you know contain. Now, just make it clear, if you're not actually, you don't need to work on your types, right? Uh, I do this because it seems a bit more professional. Number one, it makes your code easy to work with, so someone else can actually understand what part of your code is what. So, and if you're using editors like editor that does not support annotation, you can just let it slide. So now I'm going to say title. Title is a string. You can see right here we have title, description, and questions. Description. Description here is also a string, and question here is a list of questions. Now, how are we going to describe each of this question? There's going to be a list of something. We can do that the same way we did this quiz. So I'm just going to say question, type in the type dict. So each question has text, which is a string, and options, which is a list of string. As you can see, we're defining the schema of how each object in our JSON file should look like. Mind you, this is by no means any uh, method of validation. Simply, it's just a way of describing to your editor or editor how your objects should have been like. So yeah. So now we have the options right here, which is a list of string, and then we have the answer, which is an integer. So now question is going to be a list of question. That is all. So just going to comment that this types, this functions. So we have our question object here, and we know that questions in quiz is a list of questions. And let's see actually how that actually plays out. When we load the question, what did I spell this well? Okay, looks like there's an error here, and we'll look into that. When we load quiz, we can see that quiz here is of quiz type. Now, if we take all this out, we can see that we can easily say quiz, and we can see auto completion here. That's because Python now knows, or rather VS Code, anyone now knows how to describe that object. So we can just say quiz title. It's a title equals, and now we don't need to specifically annotate it like this. It already knows that quiz title is a string. I'll say description, quiz description. This way, if someone is working with your code, they can just easily, you know, write with confidence, knowing full well that the type they are actually coding on or coding with is actually how it should be like. So here, questions, there's quiz questions, and we can just tell that this is a list of questions. So when we ask question here, we want to let this function know that question is a question object. As you can see right here, question is a question object, so we pass an question to ask question. That's basically it for typing. Our code now looks well typed and ready to go. We can add documentation string here for that describing this asks a single question. So yeah, this looks good to go. Um Also, in a case where we pass in a bad file name like blah blah blah, right? This file doesn't actually exist. So when we run this, we get this error, file not found error. Uh, how we can if we can look at our trace back here, you can see we got a file not found error, and we got that at this line main.py line 24, right here line 24, where we try to open a file name that does not exist. So we can wrap this in a try block. Try except file not found error. I want to close the process. Says that exits. Now this is the exit. What it does is not like return. Return will return a value from the function. Since that exits, what it does is it stops the program. Like it just kills the program. Yeah, like your program will just stop working. That's what says the exit does. It just quits the program or the process. So yeah, exit with a error message. File not found. So this way we can now handle this. So opening JSON file, just say file not found. If we run test, we get normal. So yeah, when pressing interrupts, let's just when you click Control C, let's just say you quit the quiz. So where do we get this keyboard interrupt error? Main.py line 44. As you can see, that's when the keyboard or the program is waiting for it to enter an input. So we can just do try catch here. Going to try to get the inputs when an exception occurs, which is the keyboard interrupts. What we want to do here is to quit. And we can exit like this. You quit the quiz. So if we run this and Control C, say you quit the quiz. So quite cool. Um, so there are other cases where JSON file does not have what we actually intend for it to have. For example, title can be not actually title, and then when we try to run this, we get an error, key error. That's because there's no key there that says title. So what I want to do here is I want to break this part here where we introduce the quiz into a function. So I'll cut this. I'm just gonna put this one out here. Print quiz intro. I'm gonna take in the quiz. So we get all this here. Title quiz, the title, blah blah question. We don't need this one here. So we're just printing those guys. So if for any reason here there is some kind of if for any reason here there's a key error, I mean we know that our JSON is not correct. So print, or rather we exit the program, invalid question format. Because if we don't have these keys there, our questions won't work well. So we just quit if it doesn't work out. So here we'll try to print this. Or rather, no, we've already done the trying. We'll just print the quiz info, passing the quiz. So this one will handle the printing of the quiz info, and then we can just get a question. Yes. So now we load the quiz, we print the quiz intro, and then we get the questions, initiate this call, do the blah 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 blah. So if we run this, so we get invalid question format, and that's because title is not here. So if we run this, we get the whole thing running again. Something else could be wrong. Like for example, we didn't check for these keys. I can see we only checked for title, description, questions. So here in text options answer, we want this guys to be there. So let's just right here we'll do the same thing. We'll try to get the text question text, try to get the options question options, and try to get the answer question answer. Then if there's an exception here, or did I run this? Let's save this so we can see that that actually caused an error. So you can see here there's no question text. So we want to actually handle a case where each of the question has the correct keys. So except key error print, so just exit. Mind you, this 6 that exits once again is really good when you want to quit. You just want to just close the program. Let's see if there's any documentation. So we'll exit the interpreter by raising a system exit status. So yeah, invalid. I'm gonna call on invalid question format. Change to small letter I. So yeah, if that's wrong, we'll get invalid question format. So I can replace this with text. I can replace, just cut this off. Get options from here, and the answer, I can just change this to answer. I'm gonna make this user answer so it's clear that this user answer. So yeah. Now if there's an error or if there's a bad format, we can just say invalid question format. Let me print what. Let me just try to print what question had that at question. Make this a formatted string. Post the index. So we get the actual index where we get the error, invalid question format, question 0. So if So if it was question one that had the invalid format. It's going to ask us the first one, we'll answer, then we'll say invalid question as coming from question one. So yeah. We've validated file input, like entering the correct file, validated the kind of question, the kind of keys that our question JSON file should have, and everything looks like it's working fine. Uh, if you notice, we're not actually using this variable here. We're just trying to access the questions to see if it exists. So we can just do this. We don't actually need value. We just want to check if it exists. So yeah, that's basically it. Our types is strong, use functions well, exceptions, things like that. So, oh yeah, one more thing. What if the file actually exists, but then there is no JSON inside? That could also like cause some error. Yeah, so it's caused a JSON decode error. And what this means is that the file exists, but there is no JSON inside to parse. Like it could be that the file is empty or the content of the file is not actually JSON format. As you can see, this here is not JSON. We save this and press run as we get a JSON decode error too. So we could actually catch that exception by adding another exception here. JSON decode error. It just exits invalid JSON file. So if we try to run this, we get invalid JSON file. So until the format is correct and everything is as it should be, then our program will run fine. So let's create more JSON files. Let's see. Create a harder quiz. So I'm going to try to create a harder quiz on uh, maybe physics. Should I get a physics? Yeah, programming. Oh, let's say physics. I should do like physics. Not be that good, but yeah. I'll create a harder quiz on physics with 10 questions. Okay, then it generates a quiz. So title, yes. Description, yes. Questions, yes. And each question should have a text, options, and answer. So I'm going to try my best not to spy on the quiz, blah blah. So I'm just going to test my own knowledge on physics quite a bit. So just wait for it to generate the JSON file. So I'll create a new JSON file here. Physics.json. Yep. So once it's done, I'll copy the. It looks like it's taking a while. My network is bad. Still taking its time. Still not done. Probably network errors or something. I don't know. Let me try this again. Retry this. Regenerates. I guess. This works. Probably network issues. My internet is bad. Yep, my internet is bad. Okay. Oh, actually did generate the whole thing. That's nice. That's nice. So I can just copy this code and paste it here. Nice, 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 nice. Let me ask it for one on biology. So I'll create a biology JSON. As you can see, we are creating um, many quiz files, and that's the beauty of this thing. Now this program is not actually like tied to the question. Not like if you want to ask this question, you have to add this question in the code. Our code is separate from the data. We have a min.py file on its own, and then we can give it whatever question we want it to ask the user. So that's the beauty of the whole thing. So asking some biology quiz or writing some biology quiz. Once it's done, I'll copy this. Maybe generate a programming quiz. Alright, cool. Copy this. Let's say one on programming. Alright, so I can just paste this here. I have a valid JSON file, so close this. So just one more look at our program. So I wrote this line function so we don't have to write in print blah, 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 every single time we want to draw a line. So we can just call a line and it's draw a straight line. Quite useful, you know. Also, I want to print. I want to try and print this as percentage instead of this over this. So I want to print it as percentage. Percentage score. So there we can get a percentage score is by saying score over the length. Let me see if it's 10 over 10. So it's going to our result is going to be 1. So length of questions. Then we'll multiply this result by 100. Let's say you scored percentage score. Now let's put a percentage at the end. So yeah, I think it's done with the programming question. So I would programming the JSON. So I'll paste this here. Thank you, ChatGPT. So now we have a nice question. So let's start with physics. Let's run this. We'll pass on the physics.json. So yeah, advanced physics quiz. Welcome to advanced physics quiz. Test your knowledge with these challenging questions. What force is responsible for stability of atomic nuclei? I think that's the weak nuclear force. That should be 3. I was probably wrong there, but I won't get to know to the end of the question. What is the SI unit of capacitance? That's Henry. 2. Who proposed the uncertainty principle? Yeah, that's Heisenberg. 2. What type of material does superconductivity occur? Superconductivity, not semiconductivity. Superfluids. Okay, I'm not actually sure about this one, but I'll say certain metals and alloys. What's the primary cause of seasons on Earth? Seasons. Earth's rotation. What phenomenon explains the bending of light around an object? Okay, yeah, that's not reflection. Shit. Refraction. Yeah, refraction. what particle has the least mass of a particles? What is the term for the resistance of an object to changes in its states of motion? Hmm. Oh, yeah. What's the term for resistance of an object to changes in its state of motion? That should be inertia. So, which law states that the entropy of an isolated system never decreases? Hmm. Actually, I don't know this one. I'm just gonna go with first law. What's the speed of light in a vacuum? Should be. Alright, Scott. Whoa! What the fuck? Wow, that's crazy. That was I failed most of the questions. I failed 7 questions. Okay, now the thing is, we're not going to know which ones I failed until like there's no way we can tell which of the questions I failed for now. So we could probably work on that. So, um, let me, so I'm going to put a record here. I think I should get rid of the score instead of use a record. So a record is just going to be a list of boolean, and this list would hold, um, you know. Okay, what we should do here is that we should be able to tell like it would print the question, print your answer, then print correct answer. Okay, print the question, print your answer, print correct answer. So I have to create a new type. I'm gonna name it record. Record. So it's going to hold the question. No, question is going to be the question object. Then your answer is going to be an integer. Then it's going to print. We're going to get correct answer. We don't even need to do correct because correct answer isn't question. Just question and your answer. For this, we have to, instead of returning the if these are passed the question from this function here, we just want to return what these actually, you know, pass. So we should just return user answer here. So we're returning an integer. So instead of judging the user inside the question, you want to judge the user here after we ask the question. So we're going to say user answer equals ask questions. So now what we want to do is add records. So this is going to be a list of record. So we're going to have one record for every answer the person. For every question the person answers, we're going to create a record. Name it record list. So now the question is going to be this question, and then your answer is going to be user answer. It's quite simple. So now we just track whatever the person does after each question in this list, and then at the end we now score the user. So how to actually get the score count? Score equals 0 here. Let's say for record in records list score. Let's say if record then question answer is equals the user answer, which is always stored in record answer we want to do here, let's say we'll print the question. We'll first print a line after this. So what we want to do here is we want to print the question. So we're just going to say print. I think I need to print the Q1, Q2. So I'm going to use enumerate index. So once print the question Q, then the index on the question itself is going to be record question text. So I'm going to print your answer let's print question options, then record your answer. So I'm going to pass this. So this is, oh my bad. Let me just question here. Let me just get question directly. Record questions. So we can just call this question. So this will be question. And also this is, let's call this question. This is the question options, which is a list of strings, and the user answer is the index to the answer that the person answered. You get, so your answer and then the correct answer. Is question options and the index question to the correct answer. Now we'll print. I'm gonna print 2 lines after this. I'm gonna print a new line. This is if want to do this regardless. So for every question, every record wants to do this. Then if the answer is correct, what I want to do here is now increase score by 1. Score plus equals 1. So yeah, and then we draw a new line. So what happens here is anytime the person answers the question, we'll put the question in the records list and then the person's answer. So at the end, we can now judge the user based on the records. So for every record in the record list, you get the question that the answer was for. We'll print, oh, this is the question, print question text, and this is your answer, this is the correct answer. And if the answer is correct, we increase the score by 1. And at the end of the list, we can now print what the user scored. This way, the user can see the questions that he answered, like made the answers for, and also see the correct answer to the questions. So I'm just going to run the physics test again. All right, let's go. So, which fundamental force is responsible for stability of atomic nuclei? Okay, I actually still think it's the weak nuclear force. I mean, I'm not entirely good in physics, but let's see. It goes. SI units of electric capacitance, Henry. Uncertainty principle. I think it's. I mean, I know these guys, but um, Heisenberg was the one with the uncertainty principle thing. Now, I don't know if he proposed it, but I'm just gonna go with Heisenberg. So, which type of material does superconductivity occur? Oh shit, semiconductors. Probably because of the season on Earth. What phenomenon explains the bending of light around objects? I still think it's refraction. Which particle has the least mass? Hmm. proton, neutron. That was the time for the resistance of an object to change in this initial. I don't know this one. Spinning it of light in a vacuum. What the fuck? I got 0%, and also it didn't print. Okay. I think the reason why I got 0% here is because the records then did not work for some reason. Oh! I just created the record. I didn't append it. I didn't add it to the list. Shit, record list. The append record. Like, damn. I just created the record objects, like, but I didn't add it to the record list. That was a mistake. So I need to go over this whole thing again. Okay. So strong nuclear force. Still not sure, bro. Capacitance Henry. Wait. Oh! Oh my god! I kept saying Henry. God damn, it's not Henry. Henry's for inductance. Yeah, I mixed it up. It's actually Farad. Yeah, I can't believe I missed that. So Heisenberg semiconductors, just because that's the one I know. It's tilt, refraction, least mass, proton. I mean, I think it's alpha particles, but I can't go back. So, hmm. The term for the resistance of an object to change inertia. I'm just gonna go with first law, 2, which is response 8. Okay, I got 60%, and now we can see the questions. So, which fundamental force is responsible for stability of economic nuclear? Strong. I got it. SI unit Farad, I got it. Propose Heisenberg, I got it. Then we got semiconductors. Oh, it's actually certain metals and alloys. Yeah, obviously, but I just had to go with the one I knew. You know. So primary cause of seasons on Earth tilts, quite good. Uh, Bending of light around objects. Diffraction. Wow. Oh shit! And wow, electron actually has the least mass. Ruby. Wow. I mean, I knew, but I'm just gonna let this one slide. So yeah, overall everything looks good, and I got 60%. It's quite good. So now we can actually ask a question on some of the subject biology. So what? Oh, okay. I have no idea. Oh no, yeah, this was my mitochondria. Main component of the cell walls. Uh, Glycogen stash. Huh. Okay, which process is responsible for the conversion of genetic information from RNA to DNA? Yep. What type of blah 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 enzymes? Wow, I have no idea. Okay, just gonna go with 2. Hmm. Hmm. I have no idea. I'm just gonna go with medulla. You know, no, let's just let it slide. Oh, I got 30%. Um, wow. Also, wow, cool. All right. So you can see, quiz app works fine. So One last thing I'm going to show you how to do, because this is very important. I'm going to show you how to push to git. Now there is one more thing that we didn't account for, and it's the part where here the user might actually like put in something like a F5, but you know, just I could you could actually make this function on its own that validates what user enters, and then call that function here. So yeah, I'm not gonna do that now because I've spent a lot of time on this video. So maybe when you're free, you could work on that, or maybe later. But what I'm going to do now is show you how to use Git. Now, let me just back in the terminal. To use Git, you have to initiate, or rather, I'm not go through the techie part. Let me just go to GitHub. So shit, I'm not here. So yeah, you have to create a new repository. Now a repository is it's like the Git house for your project, or the Git base for your project. That's where your project lives. So it's very good to keep your code in the cloud or somewhere remotely, so you don't have to lose your code whenever um, you change your machine. So I'm just gonna name CLI Quiz app. So I'm gonna say Quiz app tutorial. I'll make it public, and that should be all. Create repository. And now it's going to show you the um, uh, instruction to actually push this here. So what we need to do is first initialize the Git repository, Git init. You can see that would add, type in ls, it's going to add the .git folder. So all you need to do now is git add. So you want to add everything. So git add that, and then here you can commit. It's like you're creating a snapshot of your code with a message. So git initial comment. What you want to do now is to, I think, yeah, we already have the branch. So you just want to add the origin. So you copy this, paste it. Now you can push, git push. If your upstream was already set, you can just do git push, but for this case, you just follow the upstream origin. So now that we've done this, we can now come right here, reload, and as you can see, our code is now online. This link I can now share to anybody I want to help me work on this. Yeah, that's all. Probably spent like an hour plus on this video. My eyes are already heavy. I gotta work. So bye.